It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, today I have Adamy Gregory on the show, and Adamy Gregory is the president of the BTA. He also has a full-time job as the president of a dealer in St. Augustine, Florida, a company called Advanced Business Solutions. I had Adam on about 9 months ago. He had just started his tenure as the president of the BTA. Well, guess what? That tenure is just about up. There's a big meeting that's going to happen in the desert out there in New Mexico. I'm looking forward to that. That's in June. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But I wanted to bring Adam back on, ask him how his tenure went. I saw some changes that he made there at the BTA, and let's find out how those changes went, because everybody knows the BTA is an old organization, just about ready to hit 100 years old. I joke around a lot and I say, hell, some of the people that started that thing are still members. So it might have been hard to make those changes. Adam, it's always great having you on. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, Ray. Good to see you, buddy. Glad to be here.
Well, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the industry. There's no doubt about that. I do want to talk about this BTA event coming up. I think you even got some kind of sports star showing up. It's going to be awesome. You got the president of Sharp is going to interview this sports figure. I'll let you share the story on that. But there has been a little bit of drama in the industry. I mean, we had the Konica Minolta came out with a new contract. You know, the retired BTA lawyer had given an opinion on that contract, and I had my opinion on that context. And obviously some people might have got upset about that. But just to clear the record straight, who is the BTA lawyer that represents dealers? So I want you to talk a little bit about that. And then let's just jump right in there to that meeting that we're going to see in New Mexico.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ray, I appreciate, first of all, let me say I appreciate the opportunity. One thing that we're trying to do at BTA is make sure that we keep an open line of communication, and that's our goal. That's what we want to do. So, like you, I'd received numerous emails and reports about a new contract from Konica Minolta. Let me state, first of all, in my dealership, we are not a Konica Minolta dealer, so my knowledge about that only goes so far. So, but as the BTA president, people did reach out and ask questions about what the BTA's thought was. So I wanted to come on today to just clarify some things so people understood exactly where the BTA stands. First, let me say, I know Bob's name has come up a few times, and I want everyone to know that I have the utmost respect for Bob. He's a gentleman. He's always been a gentleman to me. And what he has done over the past 47 years in his tenure for BTA was just amazing. Mm-hmm. And anybody that sticks at something for 47 years, they've been committed. So I want to commend Bob for that. But I do want to clarify that Konica Minolta, from what I've seen and read, did release a statement that the BTA had, the general counsel had put their blessing on this contract. I'm here today to verify and to let everyone know that BTA did not put its blessing on anything. Mm-hmm. Our general counsel is Greg Goldberg. And you could ask Bob, you could ask Greg. They will both tell you that Greg is our general counsel. Now, if Konica Minolta did go to Bob and had him review it, that's between Konica Minolta and Bob. And he is retired. Mm-hmm. And he's, like anyone else, he's free to work and do whatever he wants to do. But my job as the association president is to let people understand that we're here to answer any question. We want people to know if you have a question about something, if Ray brings up a topic that has shaken the trees a little bit and things are lost in the weeds, which Ray does well. We love you for that, Ray. You do that. And your passion for the dealer channel is just amazing. But we want them to know that our line of communication is open. And no matter if you hear it from Ray, if you hear it from any other media, we want to communicate about it. And so that's why I'm here today, to let everyone know that our doors are open. Our phone lines are open. Our emails, inboxes are open. And anytime you have a question about anything, we're going to answer those questions for you. But no, again, just to clarify, Greg is our attorney. He is the legal counsel. And whatever was done and whatever release that Konica Minolta put out, I would encourage those dealers who represent them to reach out to Konica Minolta directly. I will say, in the past, over many years before I came along, manufacturers used to come to the BTA and say, hey, review this contract for our dealers. Tell us what you think about it. They'd have them sign an NDA and do those things. Well, over the years, as you can imagine, since COVID, a little bit before COVID, manufacturers really have not come to the BTA much and said, hey, help us change our contract, right? They've just pretty much came and said, hey, what do you think about it? Review it. I don't think that's happened since I've been president, and before me, I don't have any recollection of conversation about that. So I will tell you that, there was no, blessing, as Ray had mentioned on this show. But I'm glad you brought that out, because I want everyone to know that if we did bless something, I can promise you there would have been a statement that went out to our members and other dealers across the country, which did not happen.
Well, Adam, at the end of the day, sometimes we hear it from a lot of different people. Oh, Ray is so terrible the way he delivers content, make people upset or whatever it is. I want to reiterate the fact that Bob Goldberg is an icon in our industry. This is not a personal thing about Bob Goldberg. This is really about Konica leadership putting out a press release and saying that the retired BTA lawyer gave it his blessing, and then me watching a video where Bob talks about working with the Konica Minolta lawyers for weeks. So without some clarification on this, people's imaginations run. And I always say that if I'm the only one willing to talk about it, well, maybe the other people that were thinking about it are getting some answers. So I appreciate you coming on and dealing with that. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to stop doing what I do because people will send emails and start screaming and say Ray's a bad person. I am passionate about our industry. I'm passionate about the BTA. The BTA is a 100-year-old organization that I believed over the last few years has had some major challenges. One of the reasons I was super excited about you becoming the president is because I know you, and I know that you probably would go in there and shake some shit up yourself. And so let's just move into that, because you've been there for, about 10 months now? You only got a couple months left, right, for your tenure?
That's right.
So talk to me a little bit about some of the changes that you made, and maybe some of the hurdles you had to overcome to implement those changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, change is hard, right, Ray? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard for people. And I've always been one to think in order to accomplish change, you have to bring in the fold. You have to help everybody understand what the goal is. You have to set a goal and say, this is our agenda to get to that goal. And I feel like this past 10 months, we've been able to do that. We went into this in July 1, the executive officer team and myself and the board, with a lot of items that needed to be addressed. So what we did is we put together an agenda of our top 5 and said, what would we like those to be? The first one of those was, how many meetings do we have? Mm-hmm. We took a poll. We sent out surveys to people, said, what do you think about the meetings? I think we were at 5 before COVID, 4 after COVID. And the feedback we got from our vendors was, hey, we'd rather be able to come to less shows, and it's same thing. We'd also like to be able to get more members at each show. So we were able to accomplish that, and we got that passed and done. I'll tell you, that's something that's been discussed, and anybody you talk to on past boards, mm-hmm. that's been discussed for as long as I've been there, and I know before me, so for years. But I felt like we were able to do it because we had a plan in place on how to present it to the association and to the members for them to give us their input, mm-hmm. what they thought about it. And honestly, the people that invest in the BTA, the vendors, the manufacturers, when they get their booths, when they sponsor our shows, we got their input as well. So everybody did it the right way to get to that point. Then we had other functions we've done, like our Automate Elevate Day. We know that you probably know the numbers, I don't, but over 85-90% of the people out there, maybe 95%, use Automate. So we felt like we needed to offer something that would be beneficial for our members. And we put on our first Automate Elevate Day back in March in Orlando, mm-hmm. and the feedback was amazing. We've now started a dealer-to-dealer helpline or meeting every month that's based just on Automate, where all the members can get on a Teams call and they can collaborate and talk about Automate. I mean, you ever heard anything about that with BTA? I mean, it's just amazing, the things that we've been able to accomplish. And again, I'm not taking all the credit. It's been an awesome board that I've had the ability to work with, awesome executive team that's helped me get there, and the BTA staff has been, very helpful in getting us there as well. But lastly, it's what the members want. That's why we're here. We're not to self-serve. We're all volunteers. We're here to provide what the members would like to have. And that's where we're headed. I've been saying for the past, not to be long-winded here, Ray, but mm-hmm. I've been saying for the past 10 months that, BTA needs to be looking towards the future. We've been calling it Future Forward for the past 10 months, if mm-hmm. you look at our magazine. And that's what we're beginning to do. We have broken records on attendance in Orlando. We've broken records on sponsorships, revenue for the BTA this year, and you'll see me say things on LinkedIn like record breaking, because we are breaking records. So we're excited about it. I believe as my tenure comes to an end, as Deborah Dennis comes in as the next president, I think she's going to keep that going. And those executive officers behind her will do the same. We have a great plan put in place. It's not just one president here, he leaves, he or she comes in next, does something different. We have put a plan together to work for the next 3 or 5 years that the members can come to appreciate.
Well, that's awesome, and I'm excited for Deborah. I know her well. I think you guys, and you're there to help her, you know, with the rest of the board. But, you know, the times are changing, Adam, and obviously that, you know, I still believe that the BTA has to be rooted in the helping dealers, not helping vendors. And I think that's a struggle. It's been a struggle for a long time, and it's a struggle with all associations that are basically fed a huge part of their budget through sponsorships. It's a struggle for venues like the End of the Day with Ray. It's a struggle for all of the media friends that we have in the industry. But we have to start thinking about what's best for them dealers, and we have to be able to have arguments, whether we agree with that stuff or not. We got to be able to have these arguments and bring it to the forefront. And, you know, it's amazing how many people in the industry will debate me without me being in the room. And, you know, that's fine. That's fine because I signed up for it. But I will say that I'm hoping in the future that the BTA can be a little bit more, you know, aggressive in talking about the things that nobody wants to talk about. And it goes back from my heart back to that, you know, crazy nonsense that happened with 9-Star back in 2023. And, you know, that was, I had to go out on a limb. I raised all kinds of hell, and everybody thought I was mean. Not everybody, but a few folks. But eventually the BTA saw that as something they needed to talk about. And, you know, but when we bring these tough issues to forefront, you know, how do we maintain that momentum on them and follow through with them? And, you know, I've always wished the BTA well and its members. I'm looking forward to going to this thing in June. So let's just jump right in there and talk about this. So you got the sports guy. I'll let you tell us about the sports guy. I know Mike is going to interview this guy, but tell us a little bit about that and some of the other things that are going to go on at this event in New Mexico.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. I mean, again, we're doing things that have not been done. I mean, what I can't remember, you know, people that are, like you said, some people are still in the BTA, they've been there 100 years. I wonder if they can remember, you know, when did we have a guy like Emmitt Smith coming to speak to the BTA? I mean, this is a Super Bowl MVP. He's a Hall of Famer. And again, that's one of those changes, Ray. We want people to see that we're bringing in big names, big speakers. We're going to up the game. We're going to, you know, and it's not just about your keynote speakers, but also our educational sessions, you know, more things about IT, more getting people in that are more involved in that side. So all these things is part of that change. And it's not a bad change. It's a good change looking towards the future. So Emmitt Smith is going to be coming, and you're right, Mike's going to be interviewing him. It's going to be a great hour of like a fireside chat. There's going to be some opportunity. We're going to be giving away a signature Dallas Cowboys jersey to one lucky person in the crowd. And it's going to be an exciting time. We are also going to have a second keynote speaker, which I'm really excited about. I've got to know him a little bit, being a Xerox dealer. John Bruno is going to be coming, the president COO of Xerox. And Xerox really stepped up their game for us this year. They're bringing in a full spread of equipment so people can put their hands on it, touch it. You know, we're trying to turn this show into something that you would go to a manufacturer show and see. That's where we're headed, right? And so we're super excited about their support. You know, John's going to share their vision. You know, everybody always thinks and talks about Xerox. That's where it started, right? They made the first one. So he's going to come and share their vision on where they're headed and where they see the industry going. So I think there's going to be a lot of things for the members and people that attend to soak in. And I'm excited about it. We're going to have some educational sessions, some breakout sessions, and then we're going to actually put on a tethered air balloon for everybody to take a ride up in the sky if they want to. And then we're going to put on a rodeo. Come out and enjoy rodeo. We're going to have some good cowboy hats, some good food, you know, watch some calf roping, whatever you get into there. We're going to have a little contest during the rodeo. So it's not just going to be about work and education. We're going to make our members feel appreciated as well. And that's what is exciting about it.
Well, the people with the passion in our industry, a lot of their funds work too. So, you know, I will say this, that if I'm going to go up in the balloon, I want to make sure there's no power lines above me. Okay. So
there you go. We'll do that.
I'll put you in charge of that. I don't think I need a bodyguard at the BTA meeting. I'm always excited to go to those meetings, and I look forward to attending it. And Adam, I'm glad you could come on. We could talk about this thing, and the issues around the Konica contract. Obviously, that's going to be something I'll probably continue to talk about. But I think the getting the record straight is awesome. I'm glad you were able to do that. Is there anything you want to add before we end this?
No, I just want to say, Ray, that I've been doing this a long time. Probably not as long as you, Ray. Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of them old guys.
Yeah. I've been doing this long enough to understand that there's a lot of opinions and there's a lot of things that people think about our industry. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opinions we have about certain people in our industry, and there's people out there that probably say, why are you going on Ray? Why are you going on this show? Why are you doing these things? And I want people to understand that, I love challenge, and the BTA loves challenged. We love to be challenged, and we will not shy away from facing those challenges. And one of the reasons that I'm on the end of the day with Ray today is because Ray challenged the BTA, and we're here to answer those challenges. And Ray, I appreciate you doing that. And it needs to continue, not just from you, but from everybody in our industry. That's what's going to make us grow. But I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here and, kind of level the playing field on that topic. And I look forward to visiting with you again.
Well, you're always welcome on the show. And, I always say that it's kind of been repetitive for a while now, but I believe our industry lost its way with accountability. And I believe our industry needs to find its way back with accountability. And we need to hold each other accountable. We got to stop bullshitting each other to make us feel good. We got to stop the endless pandering based on total nonsense, because we're not going to improve if we don't help each other. And part of that help is accountability, because Adam, everybody that watches me and watches you and talks to either one of us knows this: status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there. And I'll see all you guys on Monday.